Hi there, and welcome. Today, I want to share a story that may sound painfully familiar to anyone who's ever felt unheard, dismissed, or doubted, especially when it comes to their health. It's a story about strength born from struggle and identity reclaimed through adversity. This is Their No Doesn't Cancel My Worth, a story of resilience. Let's begin. Elara had always been a vibrant soul, a dancer with a spirit that seemed to defy gravity. Her body, her instrument, was her temple. She treated it with reverence, nourishing it with organic foods, mindful movement, and the unwavering belief that health was her birthright. But then the whisper started. A persistent fatigue that clung to her like a shadow, joint pain that flared without warning, and a constellation of seemingly unrelated symptoms that her doctor dismissed as stress and a little bit of hypochondria. Elara wasn't stressed. She was a successful choreographer, yes, but she thrived under pressure. And hypochondria, she knew her body intimately. She understood its rhythms and nuances. These weren't imagined pains. They were real, visceral, and debilitating. The first no stung. Dr. Albright, her longtime family physician, barely glanced at her meticulously kept symptom journal. He patted her hand, prescribed a mild anti-anxiety medication, and ushered her out the door, his words echoing in her ears. "You're a young woman, Elara. You're probably just burning the candle at both ends. Get some rest." Rest didn't help. The fatigue deepened, morphing into an exhaustion that seeped into her bones. The joint pain intensified, twisting her fingers into gnarled claws and making even simple movements a torturous ordeal. She sought out other doctors, each encounter a painful repetition of the first. "It's all in your head. You're too young to be experiencing these symptoms. Have you considered seeing a therapist?" The no's piled up, a suffocating avalanche burying her under layers of doubt and despair. Elara began to question her own sanity. Was she imagining it? Was she somehow manufacturing these symptoms? The gaslighting was insidious, chipping away at her confidence and eroding her sense of self. She withdrew from her dance company, unable to keep up with the demands of rehearsals. Her social life dwindled as she canceled plans, too ashamed and exhausted to face her friends. Her vibrant spirit dimmed, replaced by a hollow ache. One particularly disheartening appointment with a rheumatologist, Dr. Chen, left her shattered. He performed a cursory examination, dismissed her concerns about autoimmune disease, and told her, "Sometimes, women just experience unexplained pain. It's part of being a woman." That statement, so dismissive and condescending, was the breaking point. As Elara sat in her car, tears streaming down her face, a flicker of defiance ignited within her. No, she would not accept this. She would not let their ness define her. She would not let their ignorance steal her health. Her health, which had become a battlefield fought on multiple fronts. Not only did she have to face the unknown illness that ravaged her body, but she had to overcome the medical establishment that dismissed her, invalidated her, and made her feel as though she was somehow wrong for being sick. This was the start of a new journey, a journey of self-discovery, relentless research, and unwavering self-advocacy. She started by devouring medical journals, online forums, and any resource she could find that might shed light on her symptoms. She became her own detective, meticulously tracking her diet, her sleep patterns, her stress levels, and the ebb and flow of her pain. She discovered the concept of invisible illnesses, conditions that are often overlooked or misdiagnosed because they don't present with obvious physical markers. She found communities of other women who were experiencing similar struggles, women who had been dismissed and invalidated by the medical establishment, women who were fighting for their health. Finding that online support group was like finding a lifeline. She realized she wasn't alone. These women understood the frustration, the isolation, the feeling of being trapped in a body that was betraying them. They shared their stories, their tips, and their unwavering support. One woman, a retired nurse named Margaret, became a mentor to Elara, guiding her through the labyrinthine world of medical research and self-advocacy. Margaret taught her how to effectively communicate with doctors, how to demand specific tests, and how to challenge dismissive or invalidating statements. "You have to be your own advocate," Margaret told her. "No one else will fight for your health as fiercely as you will." Empowered by Margaret's wisdom and the support of her online community, Elara began to approach her medical care with a newfound sense of assertiveness. She meticulously documented her symptoms, researched potential diagnoses, and prepared detailed questions for her doctors. She refused to be rushed or dismissed. She politely but firmly challenged their assumptions and demanded that they take her seriously. The resistance was still strong. Some doctors were openly hostile, accusing her of being difficult or overly concerned. Others were simply indifferent, going through the motions without truly listening to her concerns. But Elara persisted. She fired doctors who refused to listen and sought out those who were willing to partner with her in her quest for answers. Finally, after months of relentless searching, she found Dr. Ramirez, an immunologist who listened attentively to her story, examined her thoroughly, and ordered a comprehensive panel of blood tests. The results were conclusive. Elara had lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease that can affect multiple organs and systems in the body. It was a diagnosis that explained her fatigue, her joint pain, and a host of other seemingly unrelated symptoms. The diagnosis was not a victory, but it was a validation. It confirmed that she wasn't crazy, that her symptoms were real, and that she deserved to be taken seriously. It was also the beginning of a new chapter in her health journey, a chapter focused on managing her condition, alleviating her symptoms, and reclaiming her life. Dr. Ramirez was a compassionate and knowledgeable physician who understood the complexities of lupus. She worked with Elara to develop a comprehensive treatment plan that included medication, physical therapy, nutritional counseling, and stress management techniques. Elara also began exploring alternative therapies such as acupuncture, yoga, and meditation, which she found helpful in managing her pain and reducing her stress levels. She began to incorporate these therapies into her daily life. Yoga was particularly beneficial, helping her to regain flexibility and strength while also calming her mind. However, Elara discovered that conventional medicine wasn't enough. The medications helped to control some of her symptoms, but they also came with a host of side effects. She felt like she was trading one set of problems for another. She started researching holistic approaches to healing, exploring the connection between mind, body, and spirit. She discovered the power of nutrition in managing autoimmune disease. She learned that certain foods could trigger inflammation, while others could help to reduce it. She began experimenting with different diets, carefully tracking how each one affected her symptoms. After months of trial and error, she found a diet that worked for her, a plant-based, gluten-free, and dairy-free diet that was rich in anti-inflammatory foods. She also started taking supplements, such as turmeric, ginger, and omega-3 fatty acids, which have been shown to have anti-inflammatory properties. As she focused on her nutrition, she also became aware of the importance of reducing stress. Stress was a major trigger for her lupus flares, so she started incorporating stress reduction techniques into her daily life. She began practicing mindfulness meditation, spending just 15 minutes each morning focusing on her breath and letting go of her thoughts. It was challenging. There were days when her pain was unbearable, when her fatigue was overwhelming, and when she felt like giving up, but she refused to be defeated. She reminded herself of how far she had come, of the strength she had found within herself, and of the support she had received from her community. Elara's journey to wellness was not linear. There were setbacks and disappointments along the way. But with each challenge, she grew stronger, more resilient, and more determined to reclaim her health. One of the biggest setbacks came when she tried to return to her dance company. She had worked hard to regain her strength and flexibility, and she was eager to share her passion with the world again. But after just a few weeks of rehearsals, she experienced a major lupus flare. Her joint pain was excruciating, her fatigue was debilitating, and she was forced to withdraw from the company. The disappointment was crushing. She felt like she had failed, like she would never be able to live her dream again. But she refused to let the setback define her. She realized that she needed to adjust her expectations and find new ways to express her creativity. She started teaching dance classes online, sharing her knowledge and passion with students around the world. She also started writing about her experiences with lupus, using her voice to raise awareness and inspire others. Elara's blog, Dancing Through Lupus, quickly gained a large following. People from all over the world were drawn to her honesty, her vulnerability, and her unwavering optimism. She received messages from people who were struggling with chronic illnesses, from people who had been dismissed by the medical establishment, and from people who were simply looking for hope. Elara became a beacon of light for those who felt lost and alone. Through her blog, Elara connected with a vibrant community of fellow warriors. They shared their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs. They offered each other support, encouragement, and practical advice. Elara realized that she was not just healing herself. She was also helping to heal others. That realization gave her a sense of purpose and meaning that she had never experienced before. Years passed. Elara continued to manage her lupus with a combination of conventional medicine, holistic therapies, and self-care practices. She learned to listen to her body, to honor its limitations, and to celebrate its strengths. She also learned to embrace the unexpected detours that life threw her way. She found new passions, new connections, and new ways to express her creativity. She realized that her health journey had not just been about healing her body, it had also been about healing her spirit. It was about finding her voice, her purpose, and her power. It wasn't just about physical health anymore. It was about mental and emotional well-being too. Elara began practicing gratitude, focusing on the positive aspects of her life, no matter how small. She started a gratitude journal, writing down 3 things she was grateful for each day. She found that this simple practice helped to shift her perspective and cultivate a sense of joy. She also began practicing self-compassion, treating herself with the same kindness and understanding that she would offer to a friend. She realized that she had been so hard on herself for so long, blaming herself for her illness. She learned to let go of the self-blame and to embrace herself fully, flaws and all. Elara's story became a testament to the power of self-advocacy, the importance of community, and the transformative potential of embracing a holistic approach to health. She received numerous awards and accolades for her advocacy work. She spoke at conferences, universities, and hospitals, sharing her story and inspiring others to take control of their health. She became a voice for the voiceless, a champion for the marginalized, and a symbol of hope for those who felt lost and alone. One day, Elara received an invitation to speak at a medical conference. She was hesitant at first. She had been hurt and disappointed by the medical establishment in the past, and she wasn't sure if she was ready to face them again. But she realized that this was an opportunity to make a difference, to educate doctors about the importance of listening to their patients, of validating their experiences, and of embracing a more holistic approach to care. She decided to accept the invitation. At the conference, Elara shared her story with a room full of doctors, nurses, and medical students. She spoke about her struggles, her setbacks, and her triumphs. She spoke about the importance of self-advocacy, the power of community, and the transformative potential of embracing a holistic approach to health. She challenged the medical establishment to do better, to listen more carefully, to validate more fully, and to care more compassionately. Her speech was met with a standing ovation. Many doctors approached her afterward, thanking her for sharing her story and promising to do better. Elara realized that her journey had come full circle. She had started as a patient who was dismissed and invalidated by the medical establishment. Now, she was a respected advocate who was educating and inspiring doctors to provide better care. She had transformed her pain into purpose, her struggles into strength, and her no's into a resounding yes to life. Her dance company, the one she thought she had to leave behind, even reached out. They invited her to choreograph a special performance about living with chronic illness. The piece was a powerful and moving expression of resilience, vulnerability, and hope. It told the story of Elara's journey, from the initial symptoms to the eventual diagnosis and beyond. It celebrated the strength of the human spirit and the power of community. The performance was a huge success. It sold out every night, and it received rave reviews. People were deeply moved by the honesty and vulnerability of the dancers. They were inspired by Elara's story and her unwavering optimism. The performance became a symbol of hope for people living with chronic illnesses all over the world. Elara's story reminds us that our worth is not determined by the opinions of others. It is determined by our own intrinsic value, our own unique gifts, and our own unwavering commitment to living a meaningful life. Their no doesn't cancel our worth. It simply redirects us to a path where our worth is recognized, celebrated, and amplified. A path where we can find our voice, our purpose, and our power. A path where we can dance through the challenges of life with grace, resilience, and unwavering hope. And that Elara knew was a dance worth dancing. Thank you so much for listening to Elara's story. If you've ever felt dismissed, misunderstood, or unheard, know this. Your voice matters. Your experience is real. And your worth is not defined by anyone else's no. If this story moved you, please consider subscribing, sharing it with someone who needs hope today, or leaving a comment below to tell us your thoughts. Let's keep lifting each other up, one story at a time. Until next time, stay strong, stay kind, and never forget. Their no doesn't cancel your worth.